The Ninjabike backpack is not the meta, but there is one area where the backpack is really good, and I mean so good that it might just be the best. There are better DPS builds, better skill builds, and better tank builds, but with the Ninjabike you can now have a build that deals great weapon damage, has tier 6 skills, and great survivability. Heroic control points, easy. Heroic missions, no problem. Heroic strongholds, I laugh in the face of them. Solo legendary strongholds. Well, maybe not that. In my recent video I spoke about which brand sets and named items work best with the Ninjabike backpack. In this build I'm using 3 named pieces, one of which you won't agree with, and all gear pieces are from different brand sets to get the most out of them. Picaro's holster is an absolute masterpiece with Ninjabike, adding 3 cores to the build, critical chance and skill haste. In my opinion it is a must use with any Ninjabike hybrid build. The sacrifice combines possibly the best brand set in Providence defense with a top tier talent in perfect glass cannon, and this piece is rolled perfectly for the build with 10% skill damage and 12% critical hit damage. Perfect glass cannon amplifies all damage by 30%. Amplify is important here as it indicates that this is multiplicative damage, and so this buff is one of the strongest in the game. But of course, it comes with a downside, the additional 60% damage you take. But this build comes with 5 skill tiers and 2 defensive cores, so I'm running a tier 6 Crusader shield with 4.7 million health, which lets me tank the extra damage I take. You can't play this build as a run and gun, but it's still strong enough to get in close quarters with enemies. My third named item is one that many of you won't like. Emperor's Guard. I'm using this for its skill tier, the 20% skill duration buff, which adds 40 seconds uptime to the striker drone that I'm using, and also for the 1% armor regen. After a ton of playtesting with this build, I found that this little bit of armor regen makes a huge difference. Of course, Fox's Prayer remains the best in slot knee pads, but for me, Emperor's Guard work better. For my final skill tier piece, I'm running one piece of Hana Yu, which with Ninjabike comes with skill haste and skill damage. This one is rolled perfectly for the build. Before the final piece of gear, I should talk about the weapon I'm using that lets me put out great weapon damage. With 5 skill tiers and 2 offensive cores, it should not be shocking that I'm using the capacitor. Shocking? Capacitor? This is an exotic assault rifle which through its talent capacitance benefits from both skill tiers and red cores. Its talent also buffs skill damage by up to 60%, which lets my striker drone hit for over 90k a shot, enough for it to take down enemies easily on its own. The other thing with the capacitor is its mods, which include a scope with 10% critical hit chance, a grip with 10% weapon handling, and a muzzle which adds a whopping 30% critical hit damage, all of which screams that this build needs to lean into critical hits, which is why my final piece of gear is one piece of Negotiator's Dilemma, which adds 15% critical hit chance with Ninjabike and is rolled to critical hit chance. With this I'm able to get to 57% critical hit chance, and with critical hit damage mods to 147% critical hit damage, letting me put out great weapon damage. For my secondary weapon I'm using a Super 90 shotgun, but given I am using capacitor almost all the time, use whatever you prefer. I'm running the technician specialization for the skill tier it adds, which buffs my weapon and skill damage, as well as the 12% damage to robots, which is always useful. If you are struggling with your own Ninjabike builds, then this video here will help you pick the right brand set and gear to get the most out of it.